Hello everyone, I am here in Chakuria Coxbazar. It's the southern part of Bangladesh. I have with me very two special person, Francesc Cortada, who is the CEO of Oxfam Intermón, and of course Ashish Damle, Country Director of Oxfam in Bangladesh. And here through this blog, that currently right now the COP30 is happening in Brazil, and we'll talk about the climate change and its impact and what is the message that they would like to give to the people.
Yeah, I mean, this is my second visit, not to this spot per se, but I've been to this area. So, the climate changes, as we know, that has multiple effects. One of those consequences is the climate emergencies we talk about. But I think as a COP, we need to redefine emergencies, because when you come and talk to these people, they'll tell you the emergency in progress may not be visible in terms of its intensity, but its impact is very severe. The kind of water that you see, this is now increasing salinity, and it's going in so much in the land that they have lost their livelihood. There is not much of an agriculture possibilities now as they used to exist maybe a couple of decades ago. So that means, people have no other options. Either they have to find some other means, or they have to move to Cox's Bazar or Dhaka.
So Francis, you have just landed from Oxfam Intermón, and what you're seeing here?
No, totally. I mean, agreeing with Ashish, this is one of those places where you connect emotionally and directly with the impact of climate change. It's one of the countries, we could talk about what's happening in the Sahel, we could talk about what's happening in Central America, but it's a big reminder that those that are suffering the consequences of climate change are not the ones that produce the problem. So the real call for COP30 is on the other side. It's on the global north. It's on the richer countries. It's on those rich people that are the highest polluters. They are the ones that need to respond to the consequences of those emissions. They are the ones that need to reduce drastically the emissions of carbon all over the world, because otherwise, as Ashish was saying, the consequences are already not in the future. We're not talking about 2040, 2050. They are real now. It's happening now as we speak. Millions of people are already living the consequences of the climate emergency.
Yes, thank you. Ashish Damle, this is the place where 20 or 25 years back, there was a massive cyclone. Thousands of people were died, and currently every year there is a massive storm, cyclone, tidal sort that massively impact the life of people. So how this problem can be solved? As I understand, these people cannot solve the problem. Where the problem lies?
I mean, the problem lies at every segment and every vertical. It's in the policies, it's in the restoration work that needs to be done. It is also in terms of adaptation and resilience. So here what we are doing now is about this 4-kilometer stretch that we see here. About 45,000 mangrove plantation have been done, which is not visible right now because of the high tide. But this is something that is being done in terms of biodiversity and restoration work. And there is a kind of a collaboration between the government and Oxfam kind of an organization. But other than that, what we had seen just it's also resilience and adaptation of creating new livelihood ways by which people can sustain themselves despite having these climate consequences. As Frank has really said, they have imposed on them. They have been subjected to it. They were not supposed to be. But until those who pollute wake up in the West and everywhere, perhaps we'll have to really keep these families. Otherwise, in few decades from now, we will be really talking about the way we talk about this extincting species. We will be talking about extincting human lives around us.
Yeah.
It's already an existential crisis for them.
As you have been working with Oxfam with more than 25 years, and you are a leaders, and you are from a country where the basically carbon emissions comes from, and people from there, the ultimate solution are there. What the people are thinking from that part of the world, and how this problem can be solved?
So it's interesting, because Spain is also one of those disaster-prone countries. We had flash floods last year where 229 people also died because of that. So I think it is also very close to people's hearts and minds right now in Spain. But still, It's perceived as being something that we can work on the longer run, that technology will solve. And I think that what we need to make sure to all those people, to our governments, is basically three things. The first one is committing internationally to those lower emissions in the short run. Again, it's not 2040, it's not 2050. It's what can you do now and over the next 5 years to commit to those lower emissions. It's forcing also companies, enterprise, the private sector, to shift their production matrix to be kind of less intensive in terms of fossils. It's also not subsidizing the fossil companies. And there's something we haven't talked, which is the loss and damage, also funds. That needs to be subsidized by the richer countries. The rich countries need to put money on the table. The climate adaptation, climate mitigation, all of this is costing money.
Yeah.
So that money needs to be on the table for real, not loans, but real grants. It needs to be on the table.
Last question, Ashish Damle, you are a critic of COP, as you generally talk about, but currently as COP is happening, what best they can do, and what's your call to action to the global leader?
Give importance. They have lost the importance. How can certain countries conveniently retreat from it and we still continue to have COP without holding them accountable? There is no debate, there is no questioning, there is no process of consequence to those who conveniently retreat from the commitments that have been made in 2016 in Paris Agreement.
Yes.
Totally. And people, whenever you talked about the COP, people tell you, oh, it's so complex, there are so many different interests that you need to take into account. And that's not true. Actually, it is very simple. It relies on two very basic questions. What is the moral compass that you want to use when taking those decisions? Who are you serving? And then what do you want to be telling the next generation? How do you take into account the generations to come? If you just thought about the next generations over the next 20 to 30 years, you would be taking very different directions and decisions right now. So it's moral compass, and it's taking into account the future generations and the world they will be inheriting.
Thank you so much, Francis and thank you, Ashish Damle, for joining us. And we are from Bangladesh, and you see, we are from the Chakuria Cox's Bazar, and the the very, very important person from Oxfam Intermón or Oxfam in Bangladesh. From this part of the world, we are telling to the people who are currently sitting in the camp, please take actions. That actions can save the life, particularly in the global south, where the lot of problems because of the climate change are happening. Let's act together, let's work together to save the lives in this part of the world. Thank you.